Did you listen to that piece I sent you?
Yes. I like the song. The cello solo is awesome, even if cello solos are clearly inferior to violin solos. It's pretty though.
What? You dare offend the paragon of reason and justice? You can henceforth refer to me as PORAJ. That cello solo alone beats out the best of any violin solo.
Part of that cello solo sounds like it should be a violin solo, thus proving that, if cellos want to sound impressive, they imitate violins.
Or rather, thus proving that the cello is a much more versatile instrument and that violins are simply redundant. Furthermore, who's to say that the violin isn't trying to imitate the cello's upper range? And failing miserably.
The violin's upper range is much higher than the cello's upper range, therefore making it a true upper range. The difference is that cello isn't as good at it because of the physical constraints of the instrument. Therefore the cello is not more versatile.
Just because you can go higher doesn't mean you do. There's not a whole lot of music that utilizes the equivalent of what the cello uses, because composers realize there's a high enough on the violin. Besides, once you've hit a certain point, high is high. Your lowest note is still high. As the cello's range, it can get high into the violin, but not into the violin's piercing, shrieking range. In any case, even if cellos should choose to imitate a violin can never imitate a cello.
The violin's highest range isn't piercing, shrieking. It's beautiful and ethereal and has a clear tone if you're doing it right. Violins don't want to imitate cellos. We have our own cool techniques. We don't need to borrow them from other instruments. Besides, when a cello tries to go fast and high, it just sounds messy, no matter how good the cellist is.
As for it being harder for cellos to hit higher notes due to the largeness of the instrument, I guess that means if we can do it, we're awesome, whereas any schmuck can play the violin. The higher pitches of the violin are painful no matter who plays them. Even if they are played with a clear tone, it's still too high. And if violins don't copy cellists, cellists certainly don't copy violins. Just because we can go high doesn't mean we're trying to sound like violins. It means we're utilizing the full capabilities of our cellos. Our higher tones sound nothing like the squeaky violin tones, even when the violin plays in lower octaves.
Then why does it always sound messy, even in published recordings? You don't play differently in the higher ranges. Or if you do, you're trying to adapt the style you use for lower, richer sounds and it doesn't work. Violins are not squeaky.
First of all, it doesn't sound messy to me, so I don't know what you're talking about. Second, it's painful to hear violins upper notes. Third, we do too. The technique is completely different. Since when do violins use thumb position? And we rarely use thumb position on lower strings, so you're just completely wrong. Even bowing technique is different when playing on higher strings. Finally, yes they are.
1 is 2. 2 is not. 3, you do not. 4, no they're not.
Okay, if you're resorting to these sort of responses, it's clearly because you cannot defeat the PORAJ. In any event, 1, I really have no idea what you're talking about since it doesn't sound messy to me unless that's the style they want to play it in to make it more passionate. Go listen to Jackie Dupree's Elgar Concerto. Or Ioma's Flight of the Bumblebee. I dare you to call him messy in the high cello register, dare you? If you did, you would have no idea the kind of heresy you would have committed. 2. Matter of opinion. I'll end this one here since you know what I think. 3. Did you completely ignore what I said for the sake of being argumentative? We most certainly do use a different technique. It's called thumb position. 4. See number 2?
I shall concede point number 3, but I shall concede no matters of opinion, which the rest of them are.
In any case, you said you would concede no matters of opinion, but all else. What does that leave but fact? And we know, as we are all members of science, that fact is greater than opinion.
Except when opinions are the end of the line. I believe this discussion started over whether cello solos or violin solos are better. That's a matter of opinion, Not fact. I may not be the PORAJ, but I can still be rational.
There is, a more objective way of quantifying your allegation.
Better is subjective by definition.